Hello and a warm welcome to the Road to World special stream. My name is Lampy and I'm joined by Josh, and the two of us will lead you through a very cool stream tonight here, talking about all different categories that are going to be played at this year's World Championship in Paris, France. And of course, the way to get there, because we're mainly going to talk about the stuff that is happening at the moment, the regional qualifiers and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, hello duelists from all around the world. It is an exciting time to be a Yu-Gi-Oh player in all kinds of different categories, and we are here today to talk about that, to talk about the different Road to Worlds events that are taking place in, you were talking about Rush Duel, Speed Duel, Master Duel, all the different kinds where players from all around the world are finding their ways into the World Championship in these next couple of weeks. And we are here to tell you guys all about that today. But I do think before we hop right into that, let's maybe look at a little bit of a teaser video about that upcoming World Championship.
Ooh, that video really brings you in the right mood. For you specifically,
really
of course, with you having that experience with already attending multiple World Championships, of course, that really is what it's all about, isn't it?
It really makes you feel a special way to see that really nice trailer. Also some callbacks, of course, to previous World Championships there. Really, really nice, and it really gets you in the mood. So I can't wait to start talking about the different ways to get there for these different games, of course.
We are starting with the newest category that we have, and that is obviously Rush Duel in Duel Links. And yeah, only available since 2023. That was where the first World Championship happened for it. 2024, my bad, actually. 2024, just last year. So we have one World Champion so far, and we're going to crown another one, of course, this year then.
Yeah, of course. Very exciting whenever these new games get a category at the World Championship. And last year we crowned the very first ever Rush Duel World Champion, and this year we're looking for another one, and players are going to be qualifying for the Rush Duel World Championship.
It's actually going to be quite interesting because now there's fusion summoning in Rush Duel as well, because that was introduced in October of last year with the Go Rush World update in that, and therefore it's going to be a whole different meta game also than it was from last year.
Yeah, the game has changed significantly with the introduction of fusion decks, because they have been quite relevant ever since they've been released. And even with some of the more recent additions, I do think there's a very good chance we're going to see the fusion mechanic make a huge impact at this year's World Championship.
Yeah, and of course, to celebrate that the World Championship is returning for Rush Duel, there's all kind of cool stuff that you can claim yourself in the game, and therefore you should definitely be sure to check all of that out. So let's have a quick look what you can get at the moment. For example, of course, Master of the Seventh Road is one of the cards, but you can just claim for completely free. You just have to log in, and then you can immediately find it in your gift box at the moment.
Yeah, that's going to be a free login reward for you as well as the new structure deck that they've added for the Rush Duel World is going to be available to claim for free in the shop, and that comes with this nice over-rush rare version of the Seventh Road Charmy Witch, alongside some other new cards that we will see in action later today as well, that apparently are pretty relevant for the current Rush Duel format as well. So those definitely some cards you don't want to miss out on. One of those structure decks you are going to be able to claim for free.
Yeah,
and then,
as you say, it's there. We have all of them basically here on the screen quickly, so you can get a brief overview of what you're going to get for completely free. As you said, you just have to log in, and then basically in the shop, you can buy it, but you don't have to pay for it as it will be completely free for you. And there we have the 7th Road, which basically all of that kind of surrounding around the 7th Road Magician and support cards for that. And of course now with the new monster that we just got, the Master of the 7th Road, that is also, of course, going to be nicely to be combined with the structure deck that you get. So basically, very meta-relevant cards for the Rush Duel meta game, as you just already said, are going to be having explained as well. And some beautiful artworks in there as well, of course. Swordsman of Roadstar kind of reminds me of Swordstar of Lancer, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool callbacks in these Rush Duel cards, of course, and Seventh Road Magician in general has been an archetype in the game for quite a while, because it's obviously one of the protagonists, ace monster, that's been getting support repeatedly, and so does it with the new structure deck as well. You got the Magical Stream there as well, which has been a very popular card in spellcaster type decks for that spell trap removal, which has been a staple ever since it's been released as well. You get the fusion card as well, which does fusion summon by fusion summoning away the material from your field. And that is going to be something to be on the lookout for with the new cards. And there we see that Overrush rare, as well as the 7th Paladin fusion monster, which is another fusion monster that you do make with the 7th Road Magician.
Yeah, it's really all about fusion summoning now that is in the game, and a lot of people are using that. And I think it is certain to say that it's also going to be very influential then now in the qualifiers, the regional qualifiers leading to the world champion and the people that are going to be competing there. And that is us saying that, but of course we also have very, very competent people talking about that in great detail, and therefore I would say we should be throwing it over to a quick video where Jofio, who actually made top 4 at the last year's WCS in the Rush Duel division, and he's going to give us a quick breakdown how the meta game is looking like at the moment in Rush Duel.
Duelist, it's time to qualify for the World Championship. Now on Duel Links from May 26th to June 2nd, you can compete in the Rush Duel World Championship qualifiers and try to gain your spot for the 2025 World Championship that's gonna be in Paris. I'm Giorgio, I'm a competitive Rush Duel player, and let me show you something about the Rush Duel meta. So we're currently in a 3-decks format where the majority of players is gonna be on 3 of the most popular decks. These 3 are 7th Road and 2 Galaxy decks. There's the Void Velger, which is the Dark Galaxy deck from SHUEISHA, and the Galactica, which is the Light Galaxy deck from UDS. So let's take a look at the 7th Road deck. This deck got supported in both the new mini box and the new structure deck. And almost all the cards you need are from these 2. Even the older cards like 7th Road Witch and 7th Road Magician got reprinted in the structure deck, so you can get most of the decks just from these 2. Now, we can start by looking at the skill, Master Axelrod, which allows you to reveal a copy from your hand of 7th Road Witch, 7th Road Magician, or Swordsman of Roadstar, and you can search from your deck or graveyard to your hand up to 2 cards between these 3 that the skill reveals or the fusion spell. If you search 2 cards, then you need to send a card from your hand or field to your graveyard. So the skill allows you to get all the combo pieces you need very consistently and every single turn. So now we can take a look at some of the new fusions that got released. For example, there's 7th Road Charmy Witch, which is the fusion that you're gonna summon the most. The materials for this card are a cat and a 7th Road Witch. This is very easy to summon, and the effect is that you can send the first card of your deck to your graveyard and change the battle position of a monster on your opponent's field. Then this card, which has 2800 attack, so it's not low, and it can inflict piercing damage to your opponent. So if you have, for example, this is a combo that you're gonna see a lot in this deck, you can summon the 7th Road Magician and the 7th Road Charmy Witch, flip a monster from your opponent's side of the field face up and attack it with the 7th Road Magician, and then the 7th Road Witch can pierce another monster, which allows you to go in for a lot of damage, even from turn 2 or 3. Another very good monster that got released is Strange Witch. This is one of the cat cards that's used to summon. Another very good support is Strange Witch. This is one of the cats that used to summon 7/0 Charming Witch, and his effect is that you can, if you don't control any other monster, you can summon from your graveyard a 7/0 Witch, or even a 7/0 Charming Witch if it's in your graveyard, and then you can add from your graveyard to your hand a fusion spell. So this allows you basically to rebuild a board after your opponent cleared your monsters. Even if you don't have anything on the field, you can make a very strong board thanks to this card. So this is a very aggressive deck. Ideally, we want to push for a lot of damage in the early game and close the game as soon as possible. Which is why, as spells, we can play some backer removal, because we don't want our opponent to have any traps to stop our pushes. But also we want a card like Talismanic Seal Array, which is a damage increase. Basically, if your opponent has a big monster, a very high attack monster on their field, we can activate the Talismanic Seal Array to reduce their attack and go in for a lot of damage. Now, for the traps, we have 4 different good generic traps that can help us stopping our opponent from dealing too much damage. If you don't need them, you can easily discard them with the 7/0 Witch or even with the skill, which is why we're playing 4 different to have more flexibility. Now, that's it for the deck, and good luck in your qualifiers.
Thank you, Jovio, for breaking down the meta game that there currently is in Rush Duel. And yeah, it was interesting to hear that actually the 7th Road Magician deck theme is actually quite relevant in the meta game right now. And you can get it for free with the structure deck now as well. That's really cool to see.
It's cool to see because, like I said earlier, the 7th Road deck has been a thing for a while, but it really sounds like it's gotten some really cool new tools to play with. At the same time, it was cool to hear that other cards like the Galaxy, the Galactica deck is still a thing. Because that is on something I also remember. And as well, I could really make out some of those old-time favorites like Talismanic Seal Array, which has been a card, like a go-to removal option to make something smaller on the board for quite a while in Rush Duel. So, you know, some things change, some exciting new stuff coming out for the game, but also still some of those tried and tested staples from back in the day still, of course, having an impact on the game, which is cool to see.
Sometimes you can't go without those staples, right? That's kind of for all Yu-Gi-Oh categories, just staples will just make your deck very good, and you just need to rely on them sometimes. That was a lot of theory there from Jovio. He gave us the full rundown. But obviously now we want to see all of that in action as well. And for that, we do actually have a show match prepared between Jovio and another content creator, Jantoni. So I would say let's go and see some Rush Duel action now.
Hello everyone, it's the time to qualify for the next World Championship Series 2025 in Paris for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. We are with Jovio today. Jovio, how are you?
I'm great, thank you so much. Hello everyone.
So Jovio, you're the awards contender for this year, but you were in the World Championship 2024. In which format?
Exactly, so I qualified last year for Rush Duel, and it was the first Rush Duel World Championship. And I managed to get top 4 last year. So I guess I'm gonna try again.
Yeah, maybe this year you will participate again in this World Championship in Paris, and maybe become the first European World Champion on Rush Duel.
Oh yeah, well that would be a dream.
So I'm playing Dark Galaxy, and you, which deck are you playing?
This is the 7th Road deck. The new deck that got support in the last box, and also structure deck. And after I activated this pot of grid, I noticed you could do something about it, right?
No delay. It was a lag.
I think there is some trap
maybe
in these 2 set cards. So let's see. I'm gonna start activating my skill, which allows me to reveal a card and search up to 2 cards between 7-0 Witch, Magician, or Fusion from my deck.
Okay. So good card
And,
advantage with Pot of Greed and your skill.
Yeah, exactly. I basically get to search my combo pieces to make fusions and other plays like the Witch that special summons the Magician.
Okay,
Now,
with
let's see.
obviously the Overrush War 1 7th Watch Witch. A rarity, especially for Rush Duel. It's a beautiful rarity. Beautiful.
Yeah. It's very good. Now, I had to discard a card since I decided to search 2 cards for my deck. And I'm gonna start by using my Mr. Alchemy to recover the card I just discarded and draw an additional card.
Oh, again.
Yeah.
What a card
And
advantage.
And now I got...
I cannot
How many
handle
cards?
it.
Is it 8 cards? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
So your deck
normal summon?
playing with fusion, so effectively you have to draw a lot of cards to have your fusion played.
Exactly. So now I can make my first fusion, which is a new card, and that's the 7-0 Charmy Witch.
Oh, the card from the structure deck, I think. Charmy, and
Is
then
this,
you'll know you'll know it. My
It was
compulsory
a
evacuation
compulse.
device, yeah, from the last bundle.
But now I'm not done yet, because I
Yeah.
have another Mr. Alchemy.
So you will draw another card, and so have enough to make another fusion, maybe.
And now I do into the Ghost Cyclone, which
Oh,
can
Ghost Cyclone.
remove the other backer. Okay. Now let's start summoning another new card, which is the Strange Witch.
Witch.
So basically this card can summon the witch from my graveyard and also add back the fusion I just used.
Oh, okay.
So now you're gonna see the
full
the
plays.
Charmy Witch on the field again.
Here again, and what is its effect? Her effect?
So the effect is I can change a position of a monster on the field, and also this card can inflict piercing battle damage.
Piercing,
So it's a very aggressive card for the early turns.
Yeah, against Dark
I
Galaxy
need my
with 0
slime.
defense, it's rough. Oh, a slime. Good
Yeah,
to
I need
see
my
it on the
trap.
graveyard.
So I think I'm gonna just switch to defense this Pale Rider, since I know it's a 0 defense and I can just go in for 28 damage and pass you the turn.
Okay, let's draw until I have 5 cards in the gimmick of Rush Duel, and then Pot of Greed, mine too.
Oh,
What I have here, okay. So my skill with Void Velg, that is the archetype of Zuijo on the Go Rush anime. So I can use it to send up to 2 cards, and if I send a Void Velg Requiem to the graveyard with this effect, I can send also the top 3 cards of my deck, and you will see that it can be something useful. I will send 2 of them, and so I send 3 additional cards. Okay, so what I have in my graveyard, I have not that I wanted, but I can maybe do something. So I can make this. I can make this. Maybe I will make this. Okay. So Void Corridor. It's a card that if I have a Dark Attribute Galaxy type monster in my graveyard, I can send a card. So I will send this one to get back. For example, this one. Yeah, this one. Vodveil, Theogonia, and I can now shuffle back 3 cards for my graveyard. And this card will be a 2 sacrifice, 2 tribute. So I will tribute summon the card I get back, Chrysaor. It's a card that can attack multiple times, but I will not use this this effect now. In theory, I can just to have 3 more cards on my graveyard. I have Requiem, Fusion, and Cataphract. Okay.
Oh, you got the fusion.
Yep. Dark Prophet. So during
here
the
it
turn,
is.
you normal summon this card, shuffle 3 Dark Attribute Galaxy type monster, and you can add a fusion from your graveyard. And I can do this, but yeah, I will do this. I'm letting 1 Void Velg Requiem on my graveyard to get back my fusion, and then fusion. And here my Void Velg Theogonia. 3000 attack. During your main phase that you special summon this card, special summon 1 level 8 galaxy type monster from your graveyard face up to your field. So I can special summon my Requiem for my graveyard. But do I want it? Yeah. Yeah, I want it. Not the other one. Here's the animation. The animation of Requiem.
Oh, here it is.
It started to be a great board. Because here I can have more attack. And I will just summon Void Veil Party Rider. Set 1 card. Activate its effect. And it's enough to clear maybe your board. And after, it's to you
And it was.
to make your move, your fusion.
Okay, so let's see. That's a very strong board, but maybe I can do something.
Maybe.
So I'm gonna start again with my Strange Witch, which not only reburns the 7/7 Witch, but also the Charming Witch, so I can reburn my fusion.
Oh, nice play. Okay.
And get back my fusion as well.
A free boss monster and a fusion added to the hand. Okay.
And
Very
now
nice deck.
let's see what that face down card is.
Okay. It was nothing.
Oh,
Fusion
it was a
again.
fusion. Okay. I'm gonna activate my skill again, revealing my 7/7
Over Rushwar 2.
and I think I can just add 1 from my graveyard, so that I don't need to discard a card. And let's see, we can tribute summon.
With your little cat. But it transformed to 7-Sword Magician. With his boots.
And now we can make the other fusion of this deck.
Oh.
But actually, maybe I wanna mill from my deck 1 more card. Okay, it was just a Ghost Cyclone. Now let's see.
And I
I
think
can make the 7th Paladin.
Yeah, and I think you will have enough attack, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, Okay, so I'm gonna start
400.
with my Charmy Witch, switching this
Yeah,
Phase
in
Rider again
defense
to defense
position.
for,
Yeah.
for 2800 damage. And let's see how big this 7th Paladin becomes.
More than 3,000. Oh,
4900, okay, I think that's
it's
enough.
a big monster, and you have piercing damage, so it's finished. 7th Road, always strongest deck, of course. No, it's good. You show us 2 new fusions. It's really good deck because of you can recover this Road Shami Witch for basically free. It's really strong, like a strategy like that.
Yeah, it's very aggressive and I like it.
So thank you, Jofio, for tuning in and duel against me. Maybe we will see you on the next World Championship Series on 2025 on Paris. And I hope for you that we will be maybe our world champion, our future world champion. And you can, if you want, log into Duel Links and get a free structure deck. It's a structure deck that Jofio play. It's with the witch, the new witch. So it's good to know you can have a strong deck. And thank you all for watching. Bye bye.
And of course, no surprise, but in the end, then Jofio also won our show match as a true top 4 World Championship competitor from last year. And he really was using those cards from the structure deck very well.
No, that looked very powerful with those new cards from the 7-star, the 7th Road structure deck as well. I was really impressed by the ability to just bring back the Charmy Witch with that Strange Witch effect. Like you just have such a strong follow-up turn. You have a huge push with that monster first, and then you just bring it. If your opponent manages to clear your field, you just bring it all back and do it all again and do a lot of damage. We saw that that fusion monster get really big there, 4900 attack. Definitely nothing to scoff at. So these fusion monsters have definitely elevated Rush Duel, I feel like, to a whole new level of power now. Where it used to be a lot about tributing before those that mechanic was added, and now the fusion monsters have kind of taken that spot of the kind of how you apply the pressure in that game at the moment. So it's really impressive there.
Totally agree. And also we saw, of course, the Yuga Odo skill that was used there in that duel. And that actually is really cool because that is also now part of the login campaign, the Road to Worlds campaign, because that is the skill that you will be able to claim by just logging into the game, basically. And there we have the great overview now as well of all the cool things that you can get. You see there is a little skill symbol. That is the one I was just talking about. That is the Master Axelrod Yuga Odo skill. And of course, plenty of tickets additionally to that as well.
Yeah, of course. You got those prismatic tickets. You got those dream tickets. You got a lot of those, the new effects that you can apply to your cards as well to make them look
Aurora
any
processing,
kind of fancy.
for example. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Really cool.
Change the surface of the card even.
Yeah, they added that like semi-recently in Duel Links as well, where you can now customize your cards a lot, have them look differently, like apply different effects to your favorite cards, which I think is really cool. And that is also something that is part of the login campaign at the moment, as it is part of the Road to Worlds campaign.
Speaking of Road to Worlds, of course, we were all about Rush Duel in this segment, so we're focusing on the lower end of this graphic here. You see, if you yourself want to qualify maybe for the World Championship this year in Paris, 26th of May, already going.
Yeah, that is yesterday that it started, basically. And the way it works is, of course, it is split into 2 stages, essentially. The first one is running right now. You can log into Duel Links right now and take part. You have to play through the first stage until June 2nd, essentially. Like, you have a week time. And then over the course of the weekend of May 30th to 2nd of June is where the regional qualifiers are held. And that's where it counts. That's where we will be finding the top performing duelists all across the globe and qualify them to the World Championship.
That is just this weekend. So this weekend there is going to be the decision made who is those people that we will see in the World Championship in WCS 2025 live in Paris. So that's very exciting for the Rush Duel community and for the overall Yu-Gi-Oh community, to be honest, to see whether it's going to be the same faces than last year. Are we going to see a title defense maybe from Quantum Cubes, for example, or not? Very much up in the air, and we're going to find out very, very soon. So that pretty much wraps up our discussion about all of those cool things that we get for login and for playing and for qualifying now in Rush Duel. So I would say we go into a short break before we transition right into the next category. Again, right? It doesn't get old for the second time.
Another great
but still,
trailer, yes.
Indeed. And now, of course, next up on the menu, the Speed Duel category in Duel Links, and actually already around since 2017 at the World Championship.
Duel Links is a household name at this point, or Speed Duel rather, because now Duel Links has two categories, of course. We've just talked about Rush Duel. Now it is time to talk about Speed Duel, of course. That is going on moment as well, where players can qualify for the World Championship. And of course, as it is tradition with all of these Yu-Gi-Oh games, around the World Championship period, we do get some awesome new products in these games. And for Speed Duel, there's of course no exception. We do have a new structure deck there as well that brings some interesting cards, I would say. Definitely cards that I'm familiar with.
First of all, though, we do have one of the reward cards. We saw the reward card for Rush Duel already, but this is the one for Speed Duel number C39, Utopia Ray Victory, which is a pretty cool... I mean, it is a great card, but also great looking there with the surface. We have just explained that the surface is a little bit different on this one as well.
Yeah, and it might have something to do with the structure deck as well.
Yes.
Because that is also a Utopia-themed structure deck. So that is something that is to be expected in Speed Duel at the moment. And that is something that you can also claim for free when you log into the game. The first structure deck is free, and it comes with some very powerful cards for the Utopia theme, which obviously goes in hand with that nice prismatic card that you get just for logging in. And there you go. We've got the new number 39 Utopia double alongside, of course, the Utopia. Gotta have the Utopia in there. Got the Leo Utopia Array, just a lot of different XYZ options, of course. C39 Utopia Array, a great option for finishing out games. ZW Leo Arms, we got some ZW support in there as well.
Hope of the Universe, of course, the name of this structure deck. And again, same as it was for Rush Duel. Just log into your game, go into the shop, claim that structure deck for completely free.
And then, of course,
Rainbow Karibo. That's a cool one as well.
Card. It's a classic. But also, of course, alongside that Utopia double, you also got the double or nothing in there, which is, of course, a very key part of those two cards specifically stood out to me when I looked at that structure deck. I was like, those two cards are potentially very powerful. Of course, a tool to do a lot of damage in just one turn. And,
especially in Speed Duel, right? Because, I mean, there is not that many life points you have to overcome.
You do play with 4,000 life points, so the fact that Utopia double is basically, I mean, if your opponent is not careful, that can end the game in one turn, which is a very powerful tool to have.
Yeah, just run us through very quickly what Utopia Double and then, of course, Double or Nothing actually is about, because some people might not even be familiar with it.
Yeah, so Double or Nothing essentially plays around with the effect of number 39 Utopia in a very cool and unique way.
There it is, by the way.
Because something that not everyone is familiar with is the fact that number 39 Utopia can not only negate your opponent's attacks, so it is actually able to negate your own attacks as well. And this is something that Double or Nothing plays around with, because when an attack is negated, you can basically double the attack points of the monster and attack again. And this is basically, you do this little trick where you negate your own attack with the Utopia, and your opponent's like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, that sounds pretty dumb at the first place, but then you're like, I actually got an idea, and actually that is your tool to just immediately win the game on that spot, right?
You do, with, I mean, depending on how strong your opponent's monster is that you're going to be attacking over, but that is definitely a strategy that can catch a lot of people off guard, so that is what that is all about. So a really fun concept as well, I think.
Very much.
It's just a really fun thing to play around with, and it's actually, you're actually going to double the attack points of the Utopia twice, because Utopia double searches you the double or nothing and
then
summons Utopia
double or
and
nothing, of course.
It's all about doubling, you know, and that's very fun.
Yeah, and I mean, you could quite literally also just double your resources in the Speed Duel right now because you're getting all those cool things for free, obviously. So you should definitely be making sure to log into your game and claim all of those cool rewards for sure. But as we did it for Rush Duel, we now also, of course, want to dive into it a little bit deeper. We want to hear some strategy. We want to hear how it is looking at the moment for Speed Duel as well. And therefore, we're going to go back to Giantoni for another time and we're going to have a nice little meta discussion. So let's see it.
If you want to qualify for the next World Championship Series 2025 in Paris, on the links on the Speed Duel format, you can play, and I will play, this new decks. Utopia with Utopia Double, and with the new cards Astraltopia from the last structure deck, Hope of the New Universe. It's the structure deck that you can have for free, one copy for free, if you log into Duel Links actually for the celebration campaign Road to Worlds. So how this deck works: you have the last skill 0-2 Power of the Future. So this skill lets you to have your combo turn 1 basically. So you have restriction, you can only special summon Exi monster, and you cannot special summon any monster with spell and trap cards except Utopia monster with 2500 attack and or defense. You shuffle one card from your hand into the deck. You reveal one ZS monster or Astraltopia from the last structure deck, and then you can choose two ZS monster and or Astraltopia, and you add it to your hand. So you have, in fact, a lot of cards advantage with the deck. You can have your turn 1 combo. After it, you can, after you morphed, you can shuffle one card from your hand or field into the deck, reveal the true form of one card in your hand. So you turn one card in your hand into a rank up magic Numeron Force. This card is really powerful, but attention, you have the last effect. This will negate all face-up cards on the field. So you will make this Numeron Force first to not negate your own monster. And so you play one number 39 Utopia from outside of your deck that will let you go to Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray. So the monster that you want to search, it's Ascended Sage, or Astraltopia, or Armed Sage. It depends on what you have in your hand. If you want one of those three, you take the two others, basically. You special summon Ascended Sage and Armed Sage, so you have two monsters on the field. You will skill to make Utopia, and then turn a card in your hand into the Numeron Force. Numeron Force on the Utopia to have your first big monster, Ultimate Leo Utopia Way. It's a monster that can equip a Zal weapon. Zal weapon, it's discard or discard. It gains an effect to your monster while it's equipped. So Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray have a negate when it's equipped with the card. And for example, Pegasus Twin Saber will gain an extra negate. So you can have two negates on one Leo Utopia Ray. Afterwards, your monster on the field are negated because of the Numeron Force, but no matter, it's just normal monster that you will Exi summon to have your Utopia Double. A new card from the last structure deck, 2. And so Utopia Double, quick effect to Exi summon another Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray. And so you will have potentially 3 negates on the opponent's turns. But it's not finished. Astraltopia can special summon if you have a special summon Exi monster on the field. And this card can add an Exi, Onomat, Zeal, number, spell, or trap. And you will add numbers protection. When a spell and trap card or monster effect is activated while you control a number Exi monster, negate the activation. And if you destroy that card, this card on the graveyard can recycle it on the field if your opponent destroyed a Exi monster, a number Exi monster by battle or card effect. And so you have a big turn 1 combo. You can sometimes, if you have another level 4 on your hands, with Astraltopia make a third Exi monster. like Abyss Dweller, to negate the opponent graveyard, or like Cairn Gorgon, its card lets you protect your numbers protection, because if your opponent target one card, you can switch the target on the proper card. So with Cosmic Cyclone, your opponent will not Cosmic Cyclone your numbers protection, you will switch to one of your Zeal weapon. We have double or nothing. So with Utopia double, you can just make Utopia on the second turn, and then Utopia negates its attack. Utopia will be doubled because of Utopia double, so it's 5,000. Then negate its own attack, double or nothing, 10,000, and you can lethal your opponent. For the turn 2, you have also Lava Golem. Maybe sometimes your opponent will have a strongest board, so Lava Golem, you can tribute 2 monsters on the opponent field in attack position, and so with Utopia double, with double or nothing, you have lethal. Tell me in the comment section below which deck you will use for qualifying to the World Championship Series 2025, and maybe you will be the next World Champion on the Speed Duel format on Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Bye bye.
Not only the cards were from Hope of the Universe, but also some other really cool ones, I gotta say. Lava Golem, for example, an all-time classic.
Really leaning into that strategy that, of course, Jantoni, obviously, they're also explained very well, where you can just give your opponent a 3,000 attack monster.
Doesn't
because
matter.
if I'm attacking with a 10,000 attack monster, they can have a Lava Golem. I don't mind.
That's pretty fun. And even if it somehow stays on the field, when there only is 4,000 life points, taking 1,000 of that, or like maybe doing the job of doing 3,000 damage first and then the extra 1,000 can come up.
It's probably
in that
half,
environment.
isn't it? In Speed Duel.
Oh, is
I
it?
think all the effect damage is half because the life points are half, but still the point remains, if you can deal 3,500 and the Lava Golem will do the rest for you.
Pretty much.
Which is obviously pretty cool.
Also, Cosmic Cyclone was there, which I definitely saw, and I think is very, 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 very interesting, because a lot of those cards were very popular in the TCG are now also making the transition into then the Speed Duel category, and therefore it is becoming a little more similar to what it was in the TCG a while ago.
Yeah, the Cosmic Cyclone has been around in Duel Links for a while now, but it is definitely cool to see a card like that just retaining that staple, like, you know, it's just been in that role for a long time, and it's just been the go-to spell and trap removal for Speed Duel, so that is very cool to see. Still making an appearance, of course, in this Utopia deck, because of course you want to go, when you're going second, you just want to like move the monsters out of the way with the Lava Golem, move the spell traps out of the way with the Cosmic Cyclone, and then go in with that Utopia double combo, which is definitely exciting.
Yeah, and
so
also very easy to achieve, right? Because you basically just need 2 level 4 monsters, go into that rank 4, and then voila, you can basically just immediately go for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're just probably even, you can just draw the double or nothing sometimes, and it can like come as a surprise maybe sometimes too, just doubling.
Yeah, because I mean, if you go through the Utopia double to grab it, then your opponent kind of knows it's coming. I mean, it depends if they have a way to play around it, then it doesn't really matter. I would argue if you're just attacking with your Utopia into something that's like stronger, your opponent knows what's up anyways. But for the most part, it is sometimes a very nice surprise, or maybe like a surprise win condition if you just can't manage to get the Utopia double resolved. But definitely some exciting stuff happening in Speed Duel as well. That's going to be relevant for their World Championship qualification. We do have a show match for the Speed Duel format for you guys as well to see some of these cards in action. So Jantoni and Giorgio, let's take it away.
Hello everyone, it's time to qualifying for the next World Championship Series 2025 in Paris, and we're on Duel Links with Giorgio for a special duel today. How are you, Giorgio?
Hello, thank you, I'm great.
Here's the new deck Utopia that came out recently in the free structure deck that you can have by logging in Duel Links with the Celebration campaign. I will activate the new skill, There 2 Power of the Future. I have to reveal a card, I have to shuffle back a card, so I will shuffle this one. And I will show you a card, ZS Armed Sage. So I'm transform Yuma into its ultimate form, and I will select this one and this one. So the skill let you to have 2 more cards, and we will select card that special summon itself, like Ascendant Sage and Armed Sage. It's the beginning of our combo. So we will activate the skill again. So we can return to the deck one card. So I will return this one and transform another one into a rank up magic Numeron Force. Special summon number 39 Utopia. Rank up! It's time to rank up this Utopia into Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray. It's our first big monster that can have multiple negates, we will see after. So, let's summon Utopia double with those two monsters. And when you make an XYZ monster with those one, you can add cards, specific cards. You will see.
Oh, and it's
First
prismatic
one,
as well.
Yeah, prismatic. I was very lucky on the structure deck, and select this one, and select this one. Okay. So now we can special summon Astraltopia because we need to get a copy of our counter trap. So bye-bye limited Buyer Force. Maybe I could have done another thing before it, but it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Utopia double, because Utopia double lets you search for this one, so you can send this one to the graveyard. Don't throw it, it's good. Utopia will transform it into Ultimate Leo. And after we have again our normal summon. So let's make Duel. You have multiple choices, but this one is good. And we've not finished yet. So once per turn, you can equip to this monster, for example, Pegasus Twin Saber, a Zell weapon. And it's a Zell weapon that can negate a card, and Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray can negate 2 if it's equipped with a monster. So we have double negates on this, and one other negates on this. Why not this one? Why not this one? We have a big monster, and I said it. And then it's your turn. So you're playing Predaplant. Why are you playing again these decks?
Yeah, I'm playing an old deck, I guess. Well, not very old, but it's still probably an unpopular choice for now. Basically, I thought, since a lot of XYZ decks came out recently, and also some Synchro decks like Speedroids, Red Dragon Archfiend, I thought the level modulation that this skill gives you is very annoying to deal with for some specific decks. In fact, you can... the effect of this skill says that every monster your opponent controls with a Predator counter on it becomes level 1. And Utopia, of course, is a rank 4 deck.
Yeah.
You want level 4.
So I can't exceed. Yeah.
Exactly. So
it's a big counter, yeah.
Exactly. So if I put a lot of counters on your monsters, I can basically prevent you from Axis summoning. However, I'm going second.
Yeah.
But this deck can do something going second as well, as you will see.
Okay,
so
I'm waiting for it.
I'm gonna start off with my Cosmic Cyclone.
Oh.
Because I know that face down is a very powerful counter trap. And now I can use my first skill. So I'm gonna reveal 2 Preda cards. And I can search another one, which is gonna be probably the Hydra.
The Hydra monster on the glitch rarity, and it's a scary monster. It's like a kaiju, but for Predaplants.
Exactly. This card basically can be summoned on my field, tributing one of your monsters with a Predator counter on it. Of course, you don't have a Predator counter, but
yeah, not yet.
I can use my second skill, which can choose one of your monsters and put a Predator counter on it. So I guess I'm gonna choose this Leo, because that unicorn equip is also a negate.
So obviously you choose the one with 2 negates, and
exactly.
with that my board will be just an Abyss Dweller and 1 negate.
So I still cannot activate anything from my graveyard.
Yeah. And it's worth when you're playing Predaplant, because all your monster needs to activate in the graveyard.
Exactly. However, let's see if I can do something.
I love this glitch rarity. I don't have one yet. Maybe
you need to play a lot of duels.
Yeah, maybe I'm not playing enough. It's possible.
So I can normal summon this monster, and I know the Utopia Leo can only negate while it's equipped.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, with
so I can use my
Phoenix
to try to pop.
So obviously I'm forced to negate, and then I'm not naked, but my board is like squishy now. Even with 8,000 attack points.
Yeah. So now, I discarded a good card, by the way, which can activate in my graveyard to fusion summon. However, there's Dweller, so I cannot do that. So I'm gonna just activate my polymerization to make my fusion. So here's the Ambulo Melides, which can
add a Predaplant monster.
I can add a Predaplant monster. Actually, any Preda card from my deck to my hand, and I'm gonna add probably
And yeah, the trick with this monster that scares me sometimes is that technically it could attribute my monster if I have a Predaplant counter on my monster. Yeah. In fact, now I haven't one, but it is possible. So now you will have to find a way.
I'm just gonna get the Predaponics.
Okay, extend
to reborn a monster every turn, basically. Now, let's activate the second effect of Ambulo. That allows me to tribute my Phoenix and summon my Cobra, which once per duel, when it's summoned by the effect of a Preda monster, can add a fusion card.
Yeah, basically, maybe you will...
I'm just gonna get the fusion recovery.
Fusion recovery to have more cards in your hands afterwards, and to get it back, your fusion, your polymerization.
Exactly, I'm gonna get back the polymerization and the Saracenian. Okay, so...
More and more, I'm not feeling confident about this duel. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's not that easy to break.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just try to polymerization to make a Chimera Rafflesia.
Rafflesia. Long time I'm not seeing it. So this card can...
This card can banish a monster with a lower level. However,
Oh, lower level.
your monsters are exquisite, so
Yeah.
they don't have a level and I cannot banish them.
Good
However,
for me.
I just needed to remove that duel because it's too much of a problem for me.
Okay, and it can gains attack, but it's 1000.
I
Me,
didn't
I
need
lose
to.
1000, and you gain 1000.
Let's see.
But in your hand, I think maybe you have the untrap. Maybe. So.
I did get it back.
Okay. Maybe we'll activate this one. Shuffling a card. And I will show you this one. I'm Sage.
Oh no.
Taking
This
this
is
one.
not once a duel.
Yeah. I think it's twice. Twice by duel. So this one can special summon. I will. And this one will just... It takes a rank up. Do I have again a rank up in my deck? Maybe no. Maybe no. So I will summon this one. I don't know if this one is good, but I will do it. It's an XYZ, an extra XYZ.
Oh. Okay. The kind Gorgon. So basically I cannot target your monsters.
Yeah. And while it's free, I will just negate this one. Because if you don't have anything in your hand, I can lethal. But if you have something, we will see. And detach one to have my last monster. It's a bit overkill. We will see if it's enough. Maybe I can have this one too. By skill, this one. It negates its effect. But do I have enough attack? Oh, I will try. Listen. Go. And we will see.
Okay, well, that's a lot of damage actually, but I have something in my graveyard. So I can make a fusion during your turn.
Oh.
And I'm gonna make my second Ambulomelides.
Okay.
So let's activate my...
And it's enough...
my Ambulo and also
enough
the
defense.
Cement.
Okay. And I can't beat it with Can Gorgon, so... In fact, I'm forced to attack now, to repeat the attack, but yeah... After you will have maybe enough card to beat me. We'll see. I could have done the C39, but your trap is just a quick effect, so you can use it.
And it's from my graveyard, so you cannot even negate it with the rank up. Now I have this to protect from damage.
Yeah, it adds a card.
If you attack it, that monster will get destroyed. So okay.
So we'll see.
Now, I need to pay 800 to keep my Pedaponics on the board, and I can also search a fusion card now.
Oh, with this one. Okay.
And I'm gonna search
Yeah, a lot
my
of card
fusion
advantage
plant.
with this deck. I see.
So now I can activate my fusion plant and discard my Mystical Space Typhoon. I don't need this.
Because actually I have one negate and just can Gorgon can switch maybe an effect.
You can redirect my targets.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make my boss monster.
Oh.
The
Starving
Starving
Venom.
Venom Fusion Dragon.
We see the animation. Thank you. Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. So it's a problem for me because if I destroy it, then
Well,
all my board will be out. If I
this
negate
card
it,
can gain.
a lot of
This card
attacks.
is gonna gain a lot of attack actually,
Yeah.
because
Monster your opponent control, and it's not the original attack, it's the actual attack.
exactly.
So yeah, I'm forced to negate it, and then you have cards added to your hand.
I think I'm gonna add the Predapruning. Now, I can activate my second effect of Fusion Substitute to recycle and draw a card. And now let's put some counters on that board.
Oh, and you have your Hydra on your graveyard,
Exactly,
so
Hydra
you
can summon
can
also
Kaiju
from
me.
the graveyard.
So you can Kaiju me, yes. And after maybe
Now I
take
can
my
rebuild
monster.
my Ambulomelides, and Ambulomelides can
Tribute.
also tribute monsters with Predator
Yeah.
counters.
So now my board are is empty, and you just have to to beat me with 4,000, and maybe it's now, it's right now.
Let's see.
With this
Is this already...
Clamido
I'm not
Sundew.
sure if it's already 5,000, but with this it probably is. So I'm gonna activate the other effect and search another Predator running for my
It's the
graveyard.
third. It's the third one.
It's
second one.
the summon effect, yeah. And now I can reburn also my Chimera Affliction, and with
yeah.
this 4 fusion board,
And now it's good. Now you have it. GG, Jofio. Maybe I could have done the thin 39. Maybe even if you fuse with your trap, then you cannot use your battle trap, but only on this monster. So after I attack with my Leo ultimate, and then you can battle trap. So I don't know.
yeah, and it was not high enough the attack, right?
Yeah, it was not. So, Jofio, maybe we'll see you on the next World Championship in Paris. Maybe you will attempt to qualify on this qualifying session the next weeks on Duel Links.
Hopefully, I hope so. That will be my dream.
Yeah. Maybe you will be our first European, first World Champions the next few months. Thank you for tuning in, all of you that watching this this replay, and so don't hesitate to log into Duel Links. You have a free structure deck on the Speed Duel and on the Rush Duel with Utopia and with 7th Road. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you once again to Giantoni and Giorgio. And Giorgio went 2-0 there, right?
I mean, to be fair though, poor Giantoni, we put him up against, of course, last year's WCS semi-finalist Giorgio there. Not really someone who you're just going to casually defeat in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links.
He was putting up a fight, though. He was
That was a
definitely
good game,
like
yeah.
a long. He went through all the motions and he almost got him. And then in
Yeah.
the end, though, it was Giorgio getting it done instead. But yeah. Giantoni also mentioning it. Of course, it will be Giorgio trying to go back to the World Championship. Yeah. And I mean, it is a European World Championship. It is hosted in France, in Paris. Of course, it would be even cooler to see the European people performing well there. That would be, I mean, of course, also speaking about you there in that case, in case you make it. But we are overall, of course, worldwide celebrating all those regional qualifiers and also the one for Speed Duel. And therefore, let's see actually what we can all get in Speed Duel, specifically when logging in. Actually, that is already applying. You can just log in today and then daily rewards will be given to you. And you see there's also, for example, a skill that is the exclusive skill for the character Yuma, Tsukumo, or Astral. And as it was for Rush Duel as well, plenty of tickets as well.
Yeah, you got the skill chips as well. You got plenty of gems, plenty of tickets, card styles that you can apply to your cards. Definitely worth checking out whether you're trying to compete or trying to qualify at the 100%. World Championship or not. Even if you're just trying to have some fun with the game, you're going to get some awesome rewards for logging in and taking part in the Road to Worlds campaign.
Totally. You say for logging in, but one thing we haven't even mentioned, both for Rush Duel but also for Speed Duel, you can play and gain some special missions, and that will also net you some packs in the end. So logging in, then playing a couple of games. I think there is packs for example, playing 3 games and then also for 5 games, and therefore you will be rewarded for playing at the moment in that Road to Worlds celebration that we have. But of course, ultimately, the ultimate goal is then to get to the World Championship. So let's see once again here the graphic. Road to Worlds. We focused on the Rush Duel part earlier, but now the Speed Duel qualifiers. Walk us through it, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, the first stage, like with Rush Duel, for Speed Duel has already started. They both started on the 26th of May. The difference is, of course, because there's a lot of duelists that are both interested in Rush Duel and Speed Duel because they're being played in the same app, of course.
Yep.
The regional qualifiers are on separate weekends, just in case duelists, want to try for both categories. So for Speed Duel, we're going to have the regional qualifiers throughout the weekend of 6th through 9th of June. And that's where we're going to find our World Championship competitors who are also going to join the previous KC Cup winners for Speed Duel, of course, at the World Championship in Paris.
Yep, and then they're all going to be dueling it out there, the best of the world, finding out who for this year is going to be the best and the world champion also in the Speed Duel category, which is very exciting, of course. And we all can celebrate it together, either by participating in that regional qualifier and try to make it ourselves, or just logging in, playing along, getting some free stuff along the way, which is really cool as well, because that is, I mean, just getting more stuff for free never can be too bad, right? Yeah. Pretty exciting for sure as well. And of course, one thing, if you're very, very curious about the Duel Links game in total, there actually is another cool stream happening tomorrow, and that is specifically about Rush Duel, and that is going to be on the GG Marine channel together with Colossa. They're going to be exploring some of the Rush Duel world there together, so you should definitely be making sure to check that out as well, for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say that is for the moment everything we have for the Speed Duel categories. So I would say with a short teaser, we go into a little break, and then we will be right back with Master Duel. And of course, The category that is the dearest to you, as you have been a previous world champion in that category. Now it is all about Master Duel and our ways of celebrating, of course, the Road to Worlds campaign. And that actually has just started literally today. So logging in today will give you the first rewards. And then for the upcoming days, you can collect more and more stuff. And I think if you already logged in today, or if you're just doing it right now, Red Supernova Dragon is waiting for you, right? As a royal rare.
A pretty looking royal rare, let me tell you. I claimed mine earlier, and that card is looking good. And of course, over the next couple of days, you're going to get more rewards. But it's just an exciting time to be a Yu-Gi-Oh player in general. All these campaigns starting for all these different games, whether you just play one of them or all of them. I think it's just really, really cool.
Very much.
And Master Duel, of course, joining in on the fun as well.
Yeah, basically at this point, the middle child, right? Speed Duel was there from a couple of years back. Now that was going to be the third edition of Master Duel, and of course Rush Duel being the most recent one. But I would say we look a little bit into the last month as we're going to see the trailer of the latest released pack. So let's bring it on. That was the pack that has been dominating, of course, the scene in Master Duel for the entire month. And of course, it is all Evil Hero themed on the cover. And I have played against Evil Hero a couple of times, but I would say that was not necessarily the theme of the pack that has influenced the metagame the most. Not saying it disrespectfully, but there were some other cards. So some that you definitely have been playing a lot as well, right?
It does have a lot of very impactful cards for the current metagame, not just for one singular deck, but actually for multiple different decks. And those are all something that I have my eye out on for like the upcoming regional qualifiers. And we are going to walk through some of those decks that are currently relevant in Master Duel, some of which are getting support from the recent pack, some of which have just been around since a little bit longer as well. But, of course, the most recent selection pack bringing support to the Mermail Atlantean deck that it's been waiting for a long time, actually. There's the Argo Stars as well, honorary mention.
Yes, trap decks. I like trap decks. So I was pretty happy about that.
I'm a fan of that concept as well. I do think it is a pretty fun deck as well. I have messed around with it just a little bit, but there's, of course, also support for Fiendsmith in there, which is also very meta-relevant at the moment in Lacrima, the Crimson Tears.
And the Agnum Day as well, right?
Yeah, but that's one of my favorite cards in that deck. That is so fun. It does so much damage.
And also piercing damage to the monster. It is it's just really, really insane for sure. And I mean, overall, you mentioned Mermail. Really? Out of nowhere? In the middle of the competition, of the top competition. I mean, I've seen it already, for example, win Challenger Cups, and it has been really, really showcasing how strong it is going first, but also how viable it is going second, right? Like this deck, it almost feels like it doesn't lack anything, or what are you thinking about it?
It has that recognition of like a super powerful going first combo heavy deck, right? Because you see people going for all kinds of different win conditions when they go first. I think people sometimes forget what you just highlighted, how strong some of these effects are going second, especially the new Poseidra the Storming Atlantean, because the main quality of the card is going second because you are able to send a water monster from your deck for cost to return a card on the field. So that's something you can only do when your opponent has cards, which by nature usually happens when they're going first. So that makes the deck even scarier sometimes when they actually just have a strong going second hand. So that's been something that people have been messing around with, alongside, of course, some you know, tried and trusted favorites from previous packs. You know, Blue Eyes, for example, is a deck that is still going strong.
Very much.
Of course, we are going to touch on the changes that the most recent Forbidden Unlimited list update that is soon to be in the game is going to make to these decks in a moment. But Blue Eyes, of course, still with the new Primate cards from the, I think, second last pack,
Yes, it
still
was.
going to be a threat to be reckoned with.
Very much.
Alongside another deck that's obviously been around for a while, which is the Snake Eye strategy.
Yeah, of course, the Snake Eye strategy, still winning tournaments. I think just actually 2 days ago on Sunday, you hosted a very big Challenger Cup, and in the end, it was once again missed. Like he's winning all the tournaments, but he also won that one specifically with the Snake Eye strategy. And I mean, yeah, it's still like, what can you say about it? It has been strong for so long. It still kind of operates in the same way. Of course, you can't really run Beatrice, for example, anymore, the Eternal Lady that turned out not to be really eternal because it was forbidden eventually. But it's still just
No, I think
Snake Eye Ash is the card, right?
Snake Eyes is just very good at reinventing itself. You go through the history of the cards since they've been released. They are undergoing constant changes.
Yes.
But they will always, or at least so far, they have always found a way to reach top level competition again. Like whether you're replacing the Azamina cards with the Millennium cards, and then you're adding Fiendsmith to the mix, then you lose the Beatrice, but in exchange you get the Lacrima now, which makes the deck more resilient in other ways. So really just like a give and take with Snake Eyes, but at the end of the day, it is still a force to be reckoned with, of course. Other decks I wanted to highlight from somewhat recent as well is Memento. I think Memento is a pretty good deck. You've been messing around with that a little bit.
Oh, yes. I like the Memento strategy a whole lot, mainly because it's so incredibly flexible. Like, of course, you have one combo line that you can just, like, memorize in your head and you can just always play that one through. But especially when it comes down to your opponent already having cards, playing through fields, this deck just offers so much variety in its ways, and it has so many different effects, and it just shines by playing into fields. But also, of course, we just mentioned that for Mermail as well. It, of course, is also just an amazingly strong going first combo deck at the same time.
Yeah, I do think that for me, these two decks, specifically Mermail and Memento, shine because they have great qualities when it comes to going first, but they also have those games where they can just super easily win the game going second as well. Memento being a little bit different than other decks, I feel like, because it has that...
How so?
It almost feels like an alternate win condition where you just summon
the
Akihiron, and you just say, like, okay, I don't actually have to deal with your board. I can just attack directly for exactly 8,000.
That's
with,
very, very cool.
Combined Creation and the Creation King.
Also, the Combined Creation can... I mean, also sometimes it comes up, your opponent has like a big field, and you could not care about it with the Akihiron, but also just resolving Bone Party in the graveyard, then having the Combined Creation and be like, yeah, you have a couple of monsters there, and they are not really strong, so just for piercing damage, and then just attacking your entire field, and guess what? That's 8,000 points of damage. So Memento, one of the really, really, really cool decks in the format right now, which definitely, and I mean, we are running for the meta game right now that is currently in place in Master Duel, and you guys at home should be taking notes. Of course, this is also the meta game, kinda, which is going to be in place for the regional qualifiers, and therefore, those are the decks that are currently being very much well played, and Memento is another one of those. I would expect at a decent frequency in the regional qualifiers, to be honest.
Definitely. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be the most popular deck. There's probably other competitors that are doing that. I mean, one other thing that is kind of like a question mark in my head on how many people exactly are going to put their trust into it is Tenpai Dragon.
Ooh.
That is, of course, a deck that's been around for a while now. And I feel like whenever I'm playing ranked these days, I don't run into it that often anymore.
Same.
But I feel like the more competitive the setting becomes, like, for example, when I'm hosting Challenger Cups, the more competitive the setting becomes, the more players still bring the Tenpai deck.
Yeah.
And I think, well, it doesn't really get more competitive than the Duelist Cups,
Truly
the regional
not.
qualifiers. So I do think it is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I do agree, but it's... I mean, we have been just showcasing that a couple of those new decks, Memento and Mermaid, they do have that going second ability, but they also have that insane strength with just going first. Therefore, me personally, I would just feel more attracted to a deck that can kind of provide both and not just be reliant on the one thing, because let's face it, sending him a Mermail deck first...
It's scary.
It's very scary.
Yeah,
and the same thing is for Memento as well.
Yeah. I mean, there is powerful tools for going second, but it is scary. Speaking of a deck that I feel like can go first and second very, very well, is a deck that I'm, of course, a huge fan of, and that is different Fiendsmith variations, which have been enabled by the new Lacrima the Crimson tiers.
Oh, yes.
Which is something that, I mean, finally has enabled players to play more, or like one of my favorite decks, which is like the more pure Fiendsmith approach.
Controlling game style. You just drag games on, you just trade resources and kind of keep it going and flowing.
Yeah.
And there's different approaches actually to those Fiendsmith strategies, because I saw a couple of people, you included, also put the Primite cards into the Fiendsmith decks, right? What is that all about?
Well, there is, of course, Primite giving you access to any sort of normal monster in the game that you want to.
Yeah.
There is actually light fiend normal monsters, namely White Duston or Dippity, depending on which one you prefer.
Yeah.
You can summon those out with Primite Roar and just go into your Fiendsmith combo that way. But alongside Fiendsmith especially, the Primite cards just offer you a very good grind game. You know, like if you can add that Drill Beam to your end board, it's going to be a very strong disruption, and it's going to, just like the Fiendsmith cards, have that recursion over and over and over again, where like the Fiendsmith stuff comes back from the graveyard, the Primite stuff comes back from the graveyard. So once that deck has the game under its control, it's going to basically stay in its control, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, quite frankly, the Primite Drill Beam, maybe, like, just looking at the singular card, maybe one of the strongest cards currently in the game, right? You can just banish one card, negate it as well. Like, doing both at once is just so incredibly powerful. So I understand the idea of including those Primite cards and therefore also the Drill Beam into as many decks as possible. And yeah, that was pretty much a nice little rundown of the decks that are currently very viable and currently on top of the competition. But of course, the format may change at least a little bit at the beginning of June, because we have a Forbidden and Limited List update upcoming. And yeah, I would say let's just go through it. You go off. What's the first thing on your mind for that one?
Yeah, I mean, I already hinted at it when I talked about some of these decks just now, but of course there is slight changes happening to some of those decks we've just talked about. Let's just start with maybe the elephant in the room, which is the Snake Eye deck that is still currently considered to be one of the strongest decks in the game. It is going to receive some slight changes. The original Sinful Spoils is going to go to 1 copy, which does not render the deck unplayable at all. The deck can still very much function with 1 original Sinful Spoils, as it has actually been playing one of that card for a long time. Currently, though, they are playing multiple copies of that card in most of the versions, because the Millennium cards being so popular in the deck give you just so many free sends for the original that you actually just wanted to draw it. And I think that's why putting it to 1 matters here. It doesn't render the deck unplayable, but it is a meaningful hit, alongside, of course, Bonfire going to 1 as well, which is just a slight consistency hit to Snake Eyes.
Yeah, to Snake Eyes as well. And I mean, yeah, Centurion also kind of suffers with that, but they will be fine.
They still got enough. I mean, the rest of the Centurions are not hit, so like that's fine for them.
That's true. Going into a different direction and therefore maybe becoming an even bigger threat in the meta game. We haven't talked about it just there in the decks that we had listed, but Branded is always a contender as well. And I mean, they're getting back another Branded fusion that's going back to 2. So scary, isn't it?
It is somewhat scary. Scary in some ways, because I do feel like a lot of people that are just like maining the Branded deck for like a lot of different formats have just gotten very good with it over time. And so it's like always scary to play a really good Branded player, especially if they draw that Branded fusion more consistently now. Because like one way to stop a Branded player from really doing their thing is to just because they don't have the Branded fusion in their hand super often, while it was at 1, you would just try to stop them from finding it. Like, for example, using cards like Effect Veiler or Infinite Impermanence on something like an Aluber when they were trying to find it could cut them off of that resource. Now they're going to have it more often in their hand, and that's, of course, gonna be very scary. Although I don't think it's going to be scary to the point of it's going to completely take over the game. Yeah, it's going to be a good deck, I think, for the second stage, but not to like alarming levels of power.
I think there is going to be a decent level of high-performing players with the deck, because that deck historically has like just a player base that is very dedicated to it, and therefore the players that do play Branded, they play it like super well, and therefore they will be amongst those top spots in the regional qualifiers, I would expect. And therefore it is definitely a deck you should be knowing how to face, and you should be knowing how to interact with it, because it is certainly one that you might be facing on your journey in the regional qualifiers for sure. And then another deck we just addressed as well, and that is getting very, very minor, small adjustments in the restrictive direction, and that is going to be Blue Eyes. So tell us about the Blue Eyes changes that are awaiting us.
Yeah, I mean, Blue Eyes has been a pretty strong deck for the last couple of weeks, I would say, ever since basically since its release, but also since the Primite cards especially joined the fray. The cards have had a huge impact on the viability of Blue Eyes, and so they are dialing back a little bit on the Blue Eyes engine itself. They're keeping Primite intact, but they've decided to put Maiden of White alongside Sage of Eyes of Blue to 2 copies each, which is just a slight consistency hit to the deck.
True.
Personally, I believe that is completely fine for Blue Eyes. I think there is ways for it to make up that consistency, and I think the most important part for Blue Eyes is that Primite engine staying intact. Because we've talked about the qualities of a Drill Beam, and that is still available to the deck, and I think that is the most important part. I do think the deck was popular enough to the point where you can say those slight hits are justified, but they definitely don't hurt the deck too much, which I think is a fair compromise for where Blue Eyes is at the moment.
Yeah, and I think then there also was a special gift in your regards on that list as well, because we also have received Sprite Blue, Sprite Jet, and Nimble Beaver, and them going up to free again, being completely unlimited. Also, of course, time-wise, perfect timeline just before the regional qualifiers, basically 2 years ago. You used those very certain cards to make it to the World Championship, and then, of course, to also have that great run over at that tournament. Do you think those additions to the Sprite deck will make it a contender again in the meta game?
I think people will certainly try, and I do think, I mean, of course, getting the 3rd Beaver, 3rd Blue, and 3rd Jet is definitely no joke to Sprite. Like, that deck is especially considering Sprite Elf is in the game. I think there's potential in Sprite. I think Sprite is always also just been known in the last couple of years for its splash ability. It's like you can combine it with so many different engines. I think it just encourages people to look into those directions again. And I think if someone comes up with a good pairing for the Sprite cards, I can definitely see a world where you do well in the tournament with it. Of course, the competition has gotten stronger. Those cards are a little bit older, and there's definitely stuff that is competing at the moment at a very high level. You know, we've talked about Snake Eyes, Tenpai, Branded, and all those kind of decks are definitely strong competitors for the Sprite decks. I definitely would encourage people to try them out and see if there's something there, because the Sprite cards, even though they're a little bit older, they do hold up quite well.
I can already see a world in which you try your main deck that you picked for the regional qualifiers and play it for a day. And then you're like, okay, let's go back to Sprite.
Like
and then
23.
it will do it again. It will do it. It worked once, it will work again. Maybe that is going to be how the storyline is going to be written once again. You will have to provide us with that. And then, of course, to round off the discussion about the most recent Forbidden Limit list that is coming soon to us, Nadir Servant also going to free. And yeah, is that going to change a whole lot? I mean, which decks do even at the moment run Nadir Servant?
There's been branded variations that have been messing around with that card. I think that's the reason why they're giving it back, because I feel like even if my opponent is activating the Dear Servant, even though it is a powerful card, I never felt like it was doing too much. So I am on board with that change. I think it's cool. I think the decks that play the card deserve to have 3 copies of it.
I agree.
And that is something that is... It's one of those cards where it's definitely good enough to have an impact, but I'm still not worried about it being at 3, which is always where you want it to be, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think decks that also would sometimes run it would be Labyrinth. I mean, not for a while, but I think in the beginning there was also that package with Ecclesia that you would search off of, and then of course the Dogmatica Punishment, which is just a good trap card for a Labyrinth deck.
Yeah,
and then I think some stun variants might sometimes also go down that road.
Same thing, right? Yeah.
Kind of the same thing, exactly. Just the same approach, just getting more trap cards into rotation to provide more for your turn. But I mean, yeah, as a card itself, Nadir Servant, sending something, adding something, usually with the card that you send, generating card advantage right away. So certainly a card not to laugh at, and certainly something that you should be considering maybe to re-include into your deck.
And it's just much more appealing when you can play 3 copies of it, of course, because like you are including cards in your deck that are just there because you're playing the Dear Servant, like the Incredible Ecclesia and the Dogmatica Punishment.
Yes.
So just having that payoff card be at 3 makes it a lot more appealing than if you're just putting those cards into your deck just for 2 copies of it.
That is true. And I mean, we have seen show matches for both Rush Duel and also for Speed Duel. And we prepared a show match for Master Duel as well. And funnily enough, it's going to be us casting, but it's also going to be us playing, as we have recorded a duel against each other. And we will now find out who of us is the better in the Master Duel category here. So you see Josh on top. And Josh, tell us about your deck a little bit there.
That is something we've talked about previously. It is the Primite Fiendsmith, which has been a deck that I've been playing probably the most since the latest pack. And my hand here actually, I think, better going second than it was going first. But it is what it is. I did win the coin toss, so I chose first. And therefore, that Gamma gonna be in a rough spot. I was hoping that you were gonna use something when I was trying to combo off. I was actually one of the few times I was hoping to get Max Seed or Droll Lockbird or something like that. But of course, the branded deck not known for its high density on these kind of non-engine cards. So you actually just hit me with a Magnamute here, which is one of the scariest cards against
I was quite proud to know that one, and then seeing that you are on a Fiendsmith deck, I was like, okay, that Magnamute is going to put in some good work here. You chained the Max C to it, and now you are actually faced with the decision. I mean, I think you usually would maybe not activate the Max C, but due to the fact that you also have the Necroco Princess on the field.
That was the reason for it, right? Yes. The reason is because I just like drawing cards.
Yeah.
And the Necroco Princess, of course, when you discard a monster from your hand to activate an effect, you do get to draw a card with it. And so I decided to just take the 2 draws off of Maxi, essentially, because you only summoned 1 time.
Yeah.
I do make a Chaos Angel here, however, it can't activate because I had to use the Primate Lordly Load to summon out the Dippity, which then locks you out of special summon monster effects for the rest of the turn. And I do think it's worth noting here that I used Ash Blossom on the Magnamute because I am worried about you messing with my Fiendsmith follow-up, of course. And I think that's because you were actually, if I remember correctly, not playing a 60-card branded version, but rather
53,
like 53. Okay.
That's a number, of course, yeah. And I mean, me as a branded connoisseur, I hope no one feels offended here by my branded gameplay that I'm about to present. But yeah, I was playing this deck because, of course, also this is a huge thing now in the Road to Worlds campaign, as we get a new the special artworks. I did not have access to those yet, and there it was a special scenario where you activate the Primite Raw Graveyard effect, and I'm like, when I'm fusion summoning here, there's nothing that you can send anymore from my side of the field.
I actually, when this chain was resolving, I was double checking to see if it said less or equal. I was hoping it was less or equal, but it was just less. So because my driver is 2500 and both of your monsters are also 2500, and Primate Roar can banish your own cards, I am forced to banish my own Lacrima here. Based off the fact that you discarded the Thrust earlier this turn, I was pretty sure you had a second Thrust, so I was holding the Dominus Purge for that. That's why I didn't Dominus Purge the Aluba, for example.
Yeah, and I mean, the branded enjoyers at home can please get in contact with me what I did wrong there, because I felt pretty bad about just not getting anything more going there, because I feel like there should have been more, because I didn't even activate any effects in the end phase. And then at this point, when we got to that stage and you got to search Primate Drill Beam, I was feeling pretty hesitant about winning the game, to be honest.
I'm definitely feeling pretty good here. You know, I'm getting my Drill Beam going. I'm gonna banish the Gran as well for the having that banished is great because you can't get the recursion off of it, and I also get to reset the Drill Beam because my Ether Barrel is still on the board.
Exactly.
My issue at this point in the game is, of course, that my Fiendsmith engine is a little bit, dysfunctional because the Lacrima is banished and one of the engravers is also already banished.
True.
So I have to be really careful on how I can even get back into it and approach this this situation. And you do have a window here to get back in it with the Branded Retribution.
Exactly, and I think me adding back the Branded Fusion I sent to the graveyard earlier, and you just having no choice but to, of course, now use the Drill Beam on this, because what comes out of this card we all know, and therefore it is no surprise that you would do that there. But also, you would already know that I just added the Springans kit, which of course is still scary. And I don't remember, do you just use the... Oh, you didn't use Effect Veiler on this, why didn't you?
I didn't use the Effect Veiler because I wanted you to get... because Springans kit is it goes -1 in card advantage, so I just didn't want to... I didn't want to go -1 for you to not go -1, basically.
I didn't realize that I could not destroy your monster in battle there. I was like, okay, I will go into the battle phase. But now in the end phase, we start finally our end phase gaming, which the branded deck is so famous for. And we go summon out Fallen of Albas, go into Albion. And Albion, with the Albion on graveyard and with the Titanic Cloud, which already used its effect, of course, can now go into a copy of Mirror Jade. And then you activate Fiendsmith in Paradise. But... actually, was the Chaos Angel, was it made with Light and Dark?
It is a Light and Dark Chaos Angel, but Mirror Jade actually plays around that quite nicely. This is a very special interaction between Mirror Jade and Chaos Angel because, of course, Mirror Jade's Graveyard effect does technically activate, but it is an effect that activates and then resolves at a later time. Therefore, when it resolves, it is no longer treated as an activated effect. So it does actually destroy the Chaos Angel here. And you put me into a very awkward spot here where I do have the Fabled Lurry to make something happen, but I can see that you have the Grand Guignol in the graveyard alongside the Fallen of Albaz. So if I just normal summon a light monster here, you can fuse with it. And unfortunately, you just don't play into any of my cards here. I was hoping you would play into the Gamma so I could throw some bodies into the way, but you just, of course, rightfully so, just saw you had enough damage. Unfortunately, no Bestial there for me to any sort of punish, but that was a pretty well played game by you, I think. Not much to say there.
Thank you. Maybe back into the training session for you for the regional qualifiers. I will give you coaching. Don't worry.
Yeah, I will go back to practicing not playing against people that open Magnamut against my Fiendsmith combo. That's something I'll do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in 53 it's fair to open the Magnamut though.
Okay.
Just pure mathematics at this point.
At this point, you didn't play 54, so you would draw the Magnamut more often, so you got rewarded there.
No, but that was a fun game. And I mean, with Branded now also getting all those cool alternative artworks, of course, it was a cool showcase of the deck. And I'm still at the beginning of my Branded learning journey, but as we said earlier, it's such a cool deck where you can just invest so much time and you get so much out of it.
Long
because
journey.
you can just, exactly. You can just get so many hours in with the deck, and still playing the deck for 50 hours, you might learn something new because it just has so many different ways to play.
It's not just about playing it as well, it's also how do you build it even, because there is a lot of Branded lore cards that you can include, some of which are totally up to personal player preference on which ones you want to play and which ones you don't want to play. How many copies of each of those do you play? Because they're all highly searchable as well. So really, I mean, when I said it's quite a journey to learn Branded, I didn't mean that. It is definitely quite the journey. So yeah, but good showcase of the deck, I think. And of course, we recorded that with one Branded fusion. The deck only gets better from there with access to 2 Branded fusions.
That is absolutely true. But of course, also for Master Duel, the Road to Worlds campaign is happening, and we are celebrating some of that, of course. And therefore, I would say, let's have a quick look at more things going on in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Those were some nice animations of the alternative artworks that we are getting there from New Frontiers. Pack has dropped today, and therefore you can just log into the game and try to pull those alternative artworks of course, for example, the Blazing Cartesia and so on and so forth. The Alubers in there as well.
Yeah, I need you to tell me your favorite one out of those new 4 alt arts, because we're getting them all at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think they're all pretty good. That's the thing, though, with Branded, is that they are all, like, the thing with alt arts in Branded is that they are competing with some pretty good-looking original artworks.
True, I do agree. I think for me personally, giving you my honest answer, I'm with Fallen of Albaz. I like that.
Ooh, really?
New alternative artwork. I know it's an unconventional choice. I know a lot of people would not go with that one, and I think the most fan favorite one might be the Blazing Cartesia. But hit me up with your opinion. What are you thinking?
Mine's the Aluber. I like that one a lot. I don't know if that's an underrated choice or not. I don't know if that's the most popular opinion, but I really like that Aluber alt
That's
art.
fair. That's fair. I do agree. That's also a pretty cool looking one. And also at the end of the video, of course, you saw what else now with the Road to Worlds campaign is there available available in terms of login bonuses. First of all, there was the Red Supernova Dragon, which you got today if you just log in right now. If you haven't done so, you're getting the Royal Rare version of that. And of course, also plenty of gems and the icon of the Red Supernova Dragon as well.
Yeah, also the New Frontier is not the only new pack that we've gotten in Master Duel today, right? There's another great pack that doesn't come with any new cards, but it actually is still a great pack, especially for people that are looking to compete in the upcoming Worlds qualifiers.
Yeah, Gate to the Throne,
It is Gate to the Throne, and it just comes with a lot of great staple cards that you can use in a lot of different decks. You know, we're talking the Molchami Fuvalos, for example, and some other just all-time strong archetypes.
For example,
Bastials, we saw the Bastials do some heavy lifting for you in that show match. Like some really good cards that if you've missed out on them when they initially dropped, you now have an opportunity to pull them again.
Yeah, fan favorites as well. I think Telemins, Rescue Ace, Horus cards as well. Definitely very well-rounded and therefore absolutely worth opening. And then there also is Crimson Power Force, a new structure deck joining the shop as well, which you should be checking out.
Make use of that, that Royal Red Supernova Dragon that you're getting, of course. Yeah, the Red Dragon Archfiend deck also getting its own structure deck.
But then also, of course, the important nitty-gritty if you actually want to make it to the World Championship in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. The dates that are important, because this one has not started yet, but it is only starting in a couple of weeks. Yes, you can already celebrate and you can already get your free stuff in the Road to Worlds campaign, but then the regional qualifiers and the first stage, as you see right here on screen, will start on the 4th of June. So there, explain us how that it works. How does it work with the qualifiers, as you are obviously quite good at it?
Yeah, okay. So the first stage of the Duelist Cup is obviously open to everyone.
Yeah.
And you just play and try to finish the first stage. You're trying to reach Duelist level max in it. And you've got a decent amount of time for it. You have pretty much around, it's about 2 weeks.
Yeah, roughly.
Pretty much exactly. And you, as long as you reach Duelist level max, you are able to then compete in the second stage of the Worlds qualifiers, which is then where it is at. That is the regional qualifiers, starting 13th of June, running over the entire weekend until the morning of the 16th of June, or, well, morning, depending on where you're playing.
Depending on where you are, 72 hours in total.
It's
that
a 72-hour window, and then we're going to have our World Championship participants at the end of that 72-hour window.
For all the different regions, of course, as this is a worldwide event, but the nice difference to the Duelist Cups that you have been mentioning is that it's not only going to be one person qualifying, but it is actually going to be persons qualifying for every region, and therefore it is going to be multiple people and actually quite a few people celebrating, and not only them singular, because Master Duel is played as a 3v3 as the only category out of those three, and therefore they're celebrating with their friends that they're about to take with them to the World Championship then as well.
You can make two people really happy if you qualify for the World Championship and you just bring them along. Yeah, that is one of the wonderful parts of the Master Duel World Championship system, of course.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that you're also going to compete again in the regional qualifiers.
I'm going to try my best, of course. I'm going to try to be back. Team Snipe Hunters have their eyes set out for this year's World Championship. Not qualified yet at the moment. We're going to have to try our best. We're going to have to compete with all of you guys at home, and we'll see if we can make it. We'll try, but
we need you. We need you. We need you for the storyline. We need the finals again between Snipe Hunters and Team 7. That would be an absolute glorious
you're asking for a
of
lot.
The story. I know, but I know you can do it. You're a very competent person to ask for that. So I have no doubt about you guys making it in the end, because obviously it's not going to be you, but also then Quantal and Emerald trying their part to qualify the team in the end as well. But speaking of all that competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel action, I would say also it's time to kind of spoil what we have going on tomorrow, because tomorrow there's going to be another Challenger Cup happening.
I love those.
And you and I were going to stay here in the studio, basically, and we're going to cast that Challenger Cup tomorrow. Yeah. So definitely make sure to all join the Challenger Cup tomorrow, and you may as well get a match commentated by the both of us. And I think there actually is a special playmat, and the artwork for it is not even revealed yet. So definitely make sure, you should be joining in there.
I mean, there's been some nice Challenger Cup accessories that were given out to players, so I'm looking very much forward to that, and very much looking forward to seeing you guys compete in tomorrow's Challenger Cup. Of course, great practice for that upcoming Road to Worlds as well. So we're hoping to see all of you guys tomorrow, either playing or watching or both, of course, depending on how you're feeling.
Definitely. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. Thank you, Josh, for joining me for the show. I hope everyone at home enjoyed. And please make sure to log into all of the consecutive games. Please go to Duel Links, go into the Rush Duel or the Speed Duel category, or go into Master Duel and enjoy those free things that there are up for grabs. See you tomorrow for another stream, as we just explained. Until then, bye-bye.